Welcome, everyone, to the League of Women Voters 2024 annual meeting. We're so glad you could be with us today. My name is Mary Hughes, and I am president of the Lexington League. Okay, we have an hour for our board meeting, which starts first, and we have a very exciting program at 11 o'clock. If you are a league member, you may vote, and I'm going to call for voice votes. So if you're not a league member, I'm glad you're here, but please do not vote. Okay, Catherine, if you will pull up our 2023 annual meeting notes or minutes, sorry. All right. We can just scroll down. These have been, reviewed. Shows that Dan Wu, Vice Mayor, was with us last year. Of course, we had elections, we had our annual report and our proposed program. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to say? And hopefully, if you haven't read these, you'll go back and read them again. All right, does someone want to give me?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Thank you, Lynn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
That was Catherine, seconded. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Aye.
Say no. Or okay, great. The minutes passed. Thanks, Martha, for good minutes. All right, we'll go on to the next thing, which is our treasurer's report. Barb and Liz Sheehan and I created this budget with help from committee chairs. It's been reviewed. If you have any questions, please let us know. I have a copy that I highlighted some things that you might want to question or know a little bit more about. Yeah, so we need the yeah, thank you, Catherine. She's getting it so we can see what everything is. Okay, the first part of the budget, as those of you who have looked at budgets before, we have our income first, of course. So it shows our money in the bank, our membership, our proposed. Membership has been kind of a source of conversation for us because we're doing the rolling memberships, meaning people renew their memberships according to the month that they've joined. And so it's not always easy to see how much money is actually in our membership pot, but we believe we're doing fine with that. We've had some very generous donations from members and non-members, which we appreciate, and we've budgeted two amounts there, which we think are right in line with what's been happening so far. Let's see, fundraising, we hope to bring in 2,000. We have an exciting new fundraising committee that's been working hard. And then we do have some things that we actually sell like our league earrings, which I'm wearing today, and I noticed that Jen is, and maybe Sharon, and also some note cards, suffragist note cards. So the total of our income is $12,980. Anybody have questions about the income?
I have just one quick question.
Yeah.
Will we be notified when our dues are due?
Yes, T. Bergman has taken over and helped Teresa Apple with that, and she sends out emails regularly when it's your month, and she does reminders and all of that. So there's a whole system that Teresa Apple set up for us.
Great.
So we're grateful for that. It's been working very well. Okay, if there's no other questions, let's go on down to expenses. Okay, we always have our board expenses. We pay for things like MailChimp, Quicken, postage, those kinds of things. We have to file with the Secretary of State, board member orientation. We always have materials for that. We, a couple of years ago, did get insurance for our board members. We felt that was crucial for everyone to be protected. We're a volunteer group. We don't want people to have liability if something goes wrong. We have our mail permit and telephone, website, Squarespace, all of those things. Zoom subscription. All right. If you have some questions, let me know as soon as we go through this. Fundraising. We just put $200 in there in case we do some targeted marketing to people. Then there's our fundraising. We're giving them a few more dollars to actually buy materials for our fundraising efforts. And then we always send at least 3 delegates to national, people that want to go. We try to pay the money that allows them to go. And so there is that amount, and our national convention is coming up in June. All right, now these membership payments, as most of you know, we pay a certain amount to the National League based on our membership in January 31st, I believe. And that's the amount. And then the amount to our state league we pay each year. And then our membership materials. And then we do have a scholarship fund in memory of Judy Johnson, a long, very hard-working league member. All right, let's look at programming.
Can
We've
I ask
added-
a question about the
Yes,
membership?
please, Lynn. Yeah.
I noticed that the amounts that are projected for the current year are lower than the previous year's amounts. And I was just curious about that.
Oh, I didn't realize it was.
Wait a minute, are you talking about the PMP?
That's it. Thank you.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
that's based on the
Okay.
February of 2023 membership. It's always way behind, or is it? No, it's 2023 because we got the bill way before.
Mhm.
It's the end of it's the end of January, right? So
Yes.
it's not,
Yes, it's in the end of January, January 31st.
So basically,
membership.
the PMP due is from like a year or two behind. So if you have declining membership or wavering in your membership, that might be reflected there. So we did have a year when we were transitioning to rolling membership where we kind of like lost, there were like people that had like missed dues for over a year. So that may account for that. I don't know if now is a good time, Mary, to kind of talk about how this is all going to be changing of January 1st.
Let's hold that off maybe, Jen, till toward the end.
Okay, but thank you
Okay,
for
yeah,
the
we should
info.
talk about that before we approve the budget though. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go through the budget and then you can tell us a little bit about that. Because there is a big change. And Lynn, I hate to be irresponsible or sound irresponsible, but I think, as you know, as being a former board member, we have the money to cover these things pretty much. And we always have a balance in our account. So I think if
Yeah.
there's some problems with that, we have ways to, fix that.
Yeah, and that
I don't
actually wasn't my
honestly
concern.
remember
My-
that when we looked at it, but you are correct. That's true.
Yeah.
It reflects less than what we had last year.
And the only reason I asked the question is because I wondered if we did have a declining membership, because it has seemed to me from standing outside that the membership is strong. Okay, that's great. Thank
I
you for
think
the
that's
info.
true. And hopefully this doesn't reflect, make people think that it's not. So anyway, thank you for that question. Again, there's some membership materials and postage. We've talked about the scholarship fund. Let's go on down to programming. Restoration of voting rights. That's actually a state program, but we do participate. We do give out information about that, so we don't have to budget much money for that. We have not had an in-person annual meeting for a while, but usually the way we cover those expenses is we ask people for donations at the luncheon. And so it's never a problem covering that. Book club, I don't think we've had to buy any of our books. The members usually buy their own, but we do have a library, so we're trying to keep some good reads for that. Candidate forums, $100. It's, we're still doing Zoom, so we really don't have those expenses. Observer Corps, Sharon Stewart has really beefed up this committee, and she does hand out some materials to people when they do their orientation, and so she asked for $200. So we think that is reasonable. And then programs, Zitzi Miraker is our program chair right now, and we do give honorariums for our speakers. When we had a Kentucky Humanities program recently, we paid, I think, $300, $200 or $300.
200.
200, Barb?
Yeah.
Yeah, for that speaker, even though we're a nonprofit, but it was a wonderful program.
No,
All right, let's go on. Catherine. Okay, voter services, we have a lot of information that we print, although we get some of it from national and from state. 411, the voter guide, we have to pay for access to that. But it's a wonderful guide. It's with the national. Voter services, blue sheets. We haven't done a real good job with blue sheets, but once this election is over, we will be back strong with our blue sheets, handing them out. Okay, so that shows total expenses of $12,980. That means that the budget is balanced. Now let's look down. Right now, we have $25,509.62 in our Bluegrass Community Foundation Fund. That is money that we cannot spend the principal, we can only spend the income. We voted as a board to take $10,000 of what was $35,509 to create an endowed fund, which means it's a fund that hopefully will be getting us more interest that we can use for the league's work. And so that was led by efforts by Catherine Harbour and Liza Holland. We did a lot of study of it. They did, and we discussed it extensively. So Jen, if you want to talk very briefly about
Chapter
the
spot.
new membership.
Yeah, so as part of as many of you may be aware, the National League has embarked on a transformation journey, and part of that is making some of our systems more efficient. One of the things that they identified as a major like barrier or kind of like pain point for a lot of leagues was the membership, and having to kind of run collecting dues, all of this kind of stuff. So they in the last several years, they've been working up to choose a system that we can use for membership. So there will be a nationwide umbrella that does membership. So there will be like one membership portal, and then dues, instead of have us paying PMP to state and national, when people join the league, their funds immediately will be split off into a portion that goes to national, a portion that goes to state, and a portion that goes to local leagues. And you may be like, well, that sounds all great and wonderful, but like the real difference is that they are also changing the percentages of how much money people are getting. So right now, we are paying the fees for having people to do online joining, which is really a more efficient way, and it's kind of the way of the future. You know, there's been a lot of check fraud and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, but those fees are 6%, and we're paying that 6% on the entire amount of the dues, even though we get a very small percentage of the dues. So what's going to happen is that's going to flip-flop. That the dues is going to be split into, state's going to get a larger percentage. Locals are still going to get like 20% of the dues or stuff, but we're also not going to have to pay all those fees. It's also going to make it easier for people to join. I know that we have an online way to join, but many leagues across the state do not. But having that central location is really going to boost our membership, because when National does campaigns to join the league, anybody can just like click on a button. It's like super easy. You're not having to dig through a bunch of stuff to be able to join. So it's anticipated that it's going to increase our membership. I don't think that this is going to have a detrimental effect on our finances. In fact, National has said they will make leagues whole for at least 2 years as in the shift to this system. There are some, if you want to learn more about this, they are having office hours frequently. We're going to plan to do like a seminar or whatever, but know that I have your best interest in heart. I was on the committee that helped choose the system that National chose for this, and it's going to be phenomenal, and it's going to decrease a lot of the work that our volunteers have to do to make the league run.
Right. Does anybody have any questions for Jen?
What's the time frame on that, Jen?
It'll start January 1st.
I also have a quick question. So do we have arrangements, or does National have arrangements for people who don't use computers to join, or are they just simply not to join the league?
No, there are definitely, that has definitely been a feature point of the discussion. People can
Perfect.
still pay by check, and we'll be able to enter that, you know, on our own. So yeah, so don't worry, that's still gonna be taken care of. Although it's definitely, and we have had issues at the state league that like people sent in their checks for membership and they got stolen out of the mail and like washed and then rewritten for an amount 10 times the amount. So checks are not as secure as they used to be. So anyway, it's there will be a way to account for that. So thank you, Lynn, for asking that.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions about that? Okay. Do we have questions about the budget?
I just had a couple comments, if I could.
Okay, Barb. Yes, Barb's our
Um,
treasurer.
You may have noticed that some of the proposed 2024-25 had zeros where we previously had expenses. For instance, the essay contests we're not going to do this year. It just wasn't, we don't have anybody to do it, for one thing, I guess. And it just seemed like it was more work than I guess people wanted to do. So that has been zeroed out. We also, I want to let you know that the 23-24 actual only goes through February. So it's not really it can't be the end of the year until the end of June. So it's kind of just doesn't give you quite a picture of this current year. And scholarships, we have one this year that we know of, but we have put aside $300 for scholarships. So that means we have a possibility of 5 scholarships. So if you know anybody, if there's anybody that's hesitant because they don't want to pay the dues, we do have these scholarships, and we should use them. Don't use your own money to pay somebody else's dues. Use the scholarship first.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that, Barb. Are there any other comments or questions? Jen was just saying, you know, as we go into this new way of doing membership, we're going to be paying less in our donations to state and national. And so she said, we're actually just looking at the worst case scenario budget, which I don't know if that's a good way to look at it or not, but that's, you know, what we would have to have, and we do have. So if there's no more questions, why don't we take a motion to accept this budget? Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the budget.
I
Sharon,
second.
is there a second?
I second.
That was Mo.
Well,
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and vote. Remember, only members are voting. Please say aye.
Aye.
You have to
Aye.
unmute, that's true. Any opposed? Thanks, everybody. We have approved our budget, and thanks to Barb and Liz for the work on this and the committee chairs. It's a great budget, I think. And good. All right. I think we are going ahead and talking about changes to our bylaws. There is not a lot that we are changing, but Sharon will tell you all about it. Sharon.
Okay. Each year we are asked to review our bylaws. That's in our bylaws. And so we did that this year, and they're not, there they go. So what you're seeing is the proposed changes in bylaws for this coming year. There are 2 kinds of changes. One are just edits, and those, at least unless I'm mistaken, since they don't change the meaning or the content of the bylaws, should not require a vote for approval, but I've put them in here anyway. But I also see a couple of extra periods and things like that that will need to be taken out before we finalize this. Then the other thing that happened is a change in the content of the bylaws, and that is due to the League of Women Voters guidance about changes that we are to put in this year. So let me draw your attention to a couple of places. The one is Article 2, Section 2B, has to do with the diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. That has been modified by the League of Women Voters, and we are asked to be compliant with that. So what we've done is put in there the link that you would go to see the newest or the most recent change in policy. So that does address the league's expectation that our bylaws be in compliance or consistent with the national. The other things that you see changed there are just edits, really. Go down a little bit, Article 3, membership, Section 2. I just added a sentence about how to define student membership. And that's consistent with the wording from the national. If you go on down further, Article 4, Section 1, you'll see something that says present and voting. We just inserted that in there for the sake of clarity. Again, it's consistent with what you would see in the U.S. The league U.S. bylaws too. If you don't, I know I'm rushing you through this, but we can always come back and talk about it. Just keep going down, and you'll see Article 5, the officers. This under Section 1 on July 1 following the election is really something that we actually missed last time and failed to make that change. So I put it in this time. And it is consistent with what we approved last year, which was to make the offices active beginning July 1 following the election. So that's just something that should have been done last year that wasn't. So if you'll keep on going down then, the big changes in Article 6, and again, it has to do with membership, and it's in preparation for the changes, the chapter spot changes that have already been discussed by Jen. The wording here is intended to replace specific wording with very general wording, and that is what the league has asked us to do. And what we are proposing there is to take out our specific wording, even though we will continue to abide by it until the end of December. When everything changes to chapter spot, and when things change to chapter spot in January, we will abide by the section that you see above that, which is just a paragraph that says that all members shall pay membership dues and so forth. So this style of having a section of it remain in place until the end of the year, then to be substituted by something else, is again consistent with the League US. So there's nothing about that that's an issue in terms of the way that we have done that. So they've asked us to make these changes, and we've done that. If you go down further, I think that may be just about the end of the changes. Yeah, page 4 was the last. So that's the ends of the important changes to the bylaws. I might have moved a few periods here and there or something like that, although I'm not sure about that either. But those are the changes that we've made, and it's an effort for us to be compliant with what the League US requires, and then also just to clean up a few things. So that's where we are.
Do people have questions about this for Sharon? Something they don't understand or not certain why it was done?
Will the dues on the new system, will people pay dues according to their original join date?
I think that may end up being changed. You're talking about the rolling. We had to get rid. We were asked to omit or not put in information about rolling dues. So that's why that's omitted beginning January 1, 2025, when the new structure goes into place. I guess Jen could maybe answer about whether it's going to be on a rolling basis or not. I just don't know.
It will be on a rolling basis, and so we will need to make sure that we have accurate records as to when people's stop date is, and so we can submit that to national, so there will not be a gap or switch in people's membership timelines.
Yeah.
And I
think
expect that we'll probably have some modifications for wording next year. Some of this, I think, is almost like a placeholder until they get some of this operational. So there may well next year be some further changes to what we say about dues and membership.
Thank you, Sharon. This has been great. Do people have questions about this besides what we've heard? Okay. Sharon,
We
you
need a
wanna make
motion.
Yeah, we need a motion, please.
I move that we accept the proposed changes in our bylaws.
Thanks, Mo. Is
I
there a
was thinking
second?
Constitution,
I
sorry.
can second it. I can
I'm
second
sorry.
it.
Okay, that was Teresa. Thanks, Teresa. Okay. There's no more questions. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I,
Anybody opposed? All right. Sharon, thanks so much for this work. We are going to go on and look at the DEI policy, and this again came.
Well, I don't know
yeah,
if we need to look at it or not. Everybody can
okay.
look
Do you want to
on
just
their
talk
own.
about it? Is that,
It
yeah,
just,
there.
they just link to it and they'll see the change in wording. I don't think we have to do that.
Okay. So people can look at the DEI policy. We've
Right.
approved that. So that's part of it. Okay. Thanks, Sharon, for telling us that. All right. And this is Sharon again with the slate. Sharon was chairperson of the nominating committee and did some great work with several other people.
Okay,
Right.
so I'll quickly go through this. Is that okay?
Yes,
Mary?
perfect.
Okay, well, first of all, thanks to Teresa Apple and to Ali Rashid for serving with me on the nominations committee, and also to folks that we consulted with, Mary and Liza and others who were so helpful in giving us some ideas and places to go and ways to look at the possibility for some more folks. We are really, really pleased with this slate. And the way that we did this was consistent with past practice. So let me tell you a little bit about it. What we will be doing today is voting on the positions for officers. We will be voting on the elected directors. And at the bottom, we will be voting on the nominating committee members. You'll see that we also have appointed directors and off-board chairs. Those are really there for your information. We don't really, they are appointed, just as it says. So we don't really vote on the appointed directors or the off-board chairs. It's really just for your review and information, and perhaps for your affirmation when you vote on it, but it's not something that is votable. So let's go back up to the officers for a second. Catherine, I just want to make sure you're really alert. Yeah, if you don't mind sliding up there. Our officers are elected for 2-year terms and they alternate years. So this year we're voting for the president, and Liza, bless her heart, has agreed to be president. The second vice president position was Zitzi Marikar, who has kindly agreed to be treasurer. We're sorry to see that is changing, of course, because Barbara's been a great treasurer, but it's also nice to know Zitzi's taking that position. So right now what that leaves is a vacancy in the second vice president position that maybe we will want to fill, but there are not specific duties for being vice president that will have to be covered. So in a way, it's okay if it's vacant for a while. Obviously, there are some things that the vice president does and has been doing, but those can be covered under other positions as well. So right now, today, we'll be voting on the president and the treasurer. Down to the elected directors, you'll see we can have 8 elected directors. We have 7 people listed. Some people have a specific assignment and some don't. That's consistent with what we've done in the past. And everybody will, of course, be doing work on various committees and so forth, but some people have very specific assignments, things they've already been doing, or perhaps something that they're going to be responsible for coordinating or whatever. But we have a really good group there of folks who've been in place for a while, and then also some new folks, and also some people who are returning after taking a little break. So we have a really strong group of people among those elected directors. We have appointed directors below that. Oh, actually, there's a newer version because I should have both student representatives listed on there.
Yeah,
I'm so
that's what
sorry.
I wondered. Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
I
that's
do
why it's in
have
the
a newer
trash.
version. I don't know why it's not popped up there. But Elsa from Transy, who's with us today, is one of the student representatives, and Jack from UK is the other student representative. And I'm so sorry, Elsa, that this doesn't show the current one, but the one that is the most current should have that on it. And if not, I'll just get you the right one. So please, as we're voting, hopefully, yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
so much, Catherine.
Mhm.
So we have two people to vote on for well, we're not really voting on, but to confirm or at least affirm, and that's Jack and Elsa. And we're so glad to have two student representatives this year, really great people. We still need a webmaster. We still need folks for candidate forums and vote 411, and also for community programs. So please keep that in mind and offer some suggestions to perhaps Liza as our new president, on who might be interested in that position, either you or somebody that you might suggest. So you look further down, we have the off-board appointments, T and Lauren and Brittany and Mark's Caballero, who's with us today. And I think Brittany was on, I don't know if Brittany's here with us or not. We also have a full nominating committee for next year. Martha has agreed to be the chair of the nominating committee, and our off-board members are Ollie and Marks. And then two more people can be appointed as nominating committee members during the course of the year. They don't have to be, but we can do two more. That's in our bylaws. So that's a quick and dirty summary of our slate, but we are really pleased with the folks that we have on there. We have some things that we still need to fill, but gosh, we're in great shape, I think, to move forward and continue growing, given what we have. And that's what I
So
have to say.
Sharon, we don't have to vote on that. We just are making
We do
everyone
need to
aware.
vote. We need to vote. We need to vote on
Okay.
this, yes.
We do.
And we're voting on the officers, the elected directors, and the nominating committee members. All those require vote. We always vote on the whole thing, but we have to just realize that the appointed directors and off-board chairs really don't have to be voted on. We're just kind of affirming
Of
them,
course,
I
yes,
think would be the
thank
way
you
I'd put it.
clarifying
So,
that.
but we do need to have a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the board nominations.
That's Catherine, thank you.
Yes.
I'll
Is
second.
there- That was Mo. Thanks, Mo. Okay. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Anybody opposed? All right. Thanks so much to our nominating committee. This is great work. It's going to be an exciting year. So thank
They're
you.
really, the committee really did work hard, I have to say. It was just a real pleasure. Teresa and Ollie did a wonderful job, and all those who helped us.
great direction on your part, Sharon, really great direction. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. I think we're on to the annual report. Let's go ahead and look at that briefly. It's not something that we, now that's the strategic plan, which is
After the
after
annual
this. It
report.
should be the president's, yeah, down below, number 8. Okay. I hope you all will take time, by clicking on the agenda to look at this if you haven't already. But there's been so many exciting things that happened this year in the league. Sharon has gotten Observer Corps really moving, and that's really exciting. Thanks to Liza and Catherine, our fundraising committee is moving along and has made some great suggestions that we've implemented. Programs look very good along with book club. We're always looking for more members. We have a revitalized voter services committee, although we've always done voter services. We have some great people on that committee, several of whom are new league members. So that's very exciting. We're always looking for people to join us. We've used League in Action, which is formerly Outreach Circle. We've used that a lot to inform people of what's going on. We hope everybody will join League in Action. It's, a matter of pushing buttons and letting your friends and family know about what's going on at the league, or letting them know that they need to check their voter registration, all kinds of helpful information. We are using Vote 411, which is the national voter guide, but it is specific to states and localities. So that's something we refer people to all the time when we're out with our voter services committees. And then, of course, we have a monthly voter. Please let us know if you're not receiving that. We are trying to update MailChimp all the time with our new members. So if you're not, let someone know that that's not happening for you, because it has lots of great information. So that's really the year in a capsule. I'm sorry we don't have more time to go through it, but it's been a great year. I've enjoyed working with everybody, and yeah, we just have so many people that are contributing. It's very exciting, and we're getting new members all the time, people that really want to help us with our efforts. So thank you. All right.
Mary,
Yes,
I'm
Sharon.
sorry.
No,
Down
go
below
ahead.
that, is that where everybody submitted their individual reports? Is below your president's report, or where's that show up?
No, that's actually, it's on the agenda as the annual committee reports. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something about Observer Corps.
Oh, I mean, I submitted a report. I just wanted to know what
And
happened to those.
that is on the agenda. Yes, we're just not going through it. It's part of, it should be.
Oh, I see.
It's on the agenda. There's like right before it says committee reports, and then it's the president's reports. So it's on the same line.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So there is some great information also on there, and thanks for pointing that out, Sharon. There's specific things about each of the committees. So please look at that also. All right, are we ready to go on to our program? This is our strategic plan. Again, Sharon Stewart pulled this together for us with information from our planning meeting. Many of you were part of that planning meeting. We think we have an exciting plan for this coming year.
Where'd it go? It was up earlier. You had it pulled up, and then there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Great.
Okay.
All right,
So
Sharon.
each year, the league expects us to have a program for the upcoming year that we are to prepare and approve. So that program needs to be consistent with the league mission, which is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. And also, we act on selected government issues. So what we've done is we're putting our program in the form of a strategic plan. So it's a little bit different than what we've done, at least in some years prior. So the reason we're doing a strategic plan format is because it makes it easier for us and for other people to see what it is we're going to be doing, and also what our expectations are. So what we have in our case are 3 goals. One has to do with facilitating voter education and participation of citizens. The second goal is on promoting policies that expand and protect citizens' right to vote. And the third goal is on building the capacity of our league, which is something we've been working on for a while, and we just want to specify what it is that we are hoping to achieve this year in terms of strengthening our league. So that's in a nutshell what the strategic plan will involve. For each of our goals, if you go up to goal number 1, thank you, Catherine. If we go up to goal number 1, you can see that for a goal, we have under it at least one objective. In this case, you'll see objective 1.1, and that's in bold. And then under that, we have metrics. And those are the things that we will measure our progress on each objective. And for most of these goals, we already are collecting those data. We just maybe haven't done it in as precise a way or systematic a way as we will be doing this year. So we try to reduce the workload on people. We are a group of volunteers, so we don't want to make it overwhelming. So we are setting this up in a way that we believe that it will be doable. I'm creating a a spreadsheet or a tracking sheet that we can use for all of these so we can track over the course of the year. And I've already presented one to the group at our earlier planning meeting earlier this spring, sort of what it would look like. But I haven't done a final one because there's no point in doing that until we decide for sure what we're going to approve today. So anyway, we'll have metrics. And then also who's the responsible party. In this case, it'll be the Voter Services Committee, and it varies according to the objective. And then it has strategies listed underneath. Whoops. You'll see
Sorry, it
strategies
was-
there.
I think
That's
this may
okay.
be out of,
Those
this
are,
file, this
that's-
particular file may be out of date. It's in the trash, but maybe if
Oh.
there's been any very recent changes, then Sharon, when we get to it.
yeah, well, there will be further down maybe
Yeah.
if it doesn't show. But the strategies are all just examples of ways that we can get at this particular objective, and they're meant to be flexible, but they give the reader an idea of what it is that group is doing to achieve the objective. So that's what that's all about. So you'll see objective 1, which is about voter education and registration events, and we're doing a lot of that already. If you look down under objective 2, it's providing information through Vote 411 and through the forums. So we have metrics, for the upcoming general election. For spring of 2025, we may or may not have metrics because that's going to be such a limited election that there may not be a reason to really collect metrics. But this gives you an idea of what the forums and Vote 411 are doing to get to the goals that we have set and the metrics that we've set. Objective 1.3 is about ways to promote community interest. If you don't mind moving down just a little bit.
Jen's just sent a direct message if she copy, so I'm gonna just pull that up here.
Okay.
I think. So maybe.
Yeah, because the second one will have some numbers in it that the other one that you have might not have. It's in the board, yeah.
Yes, annual meeting. 2024. And it was number 8, I think, right? Or it's 9, maybe? I think it's 9.
Yeah,
9.
strategic plan should be 9.
Yeah.
And then I'll open with it. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Jen.
As soon as it pops up there.
Yep.
I think everything's okay so far, except I see some funky spacing, but I'll fix that. If we go on down to metric 1, or excuse me, goal 1.3, that's where we were. And this has to do with community forums, book clubs, and I talked with Mo and Zitzi about how many we would have, and then we talked about how many League in Action actions would we have, and I used the data from League in Action to come up with 350 actions. That's an increase over this present year. Community Programs Committee will be the primary responsibility of that group to get this information, and the rest of it's easy to access electronically. And then you'll see the strategies for that. So let's go on down then to goal 2, which is about ways to expand and protect citizens' right to vote and participate. So we get requests to participate by the Kentucky League and the U.S. League on issues. And so what we're going to do basically is track that. And so it's just a matter of tracking something we already have access to. And then we're going to monitor our government bodies, and that's mostly done by the, there we go, Observer Corps. And so we have some metrics there. I'm not sure why some of the issues with spacing, but anyway, Observer Corps worked together to come up with our strategies. So we're in agreement about the Observer Corps goals and metrics and strategies. If we go on down, number 3 has to do with building capacity. A lot of these are already underway. We want to increase our league membership. So we consulted with people about what would an appropriate number be, and what about issues about renewal. We want to not just have new members, we want to keep our members. So that's why you'll see 2 metrics there. If you go on down, we also have an objective related to financial stability. So Catherine and Liza and others have worked hard on that, Barbara. Objective 3 is about using technology, and we work with Jen and others to come up with items for that. And most of these things are easy to monitor just by monitoring the technology that we have. Objective 3.4 has to do with something that Liza and Mary have been working very hard on, which is creating partnerships with other groups, particularly Civic LEX right now, but there are other groups too that we want to be more involved with. This is something that's been going on for a while. We're just expanding that. And if we go on down, I think that's the end of it. So that's what the strategic plan is. It's intended to be our way of addressing the issues around making sure that voters are informed, or citizens are informed, and that they're active in government by strengthening our infrastructure and also by building our capacity, our ability to monitor and participate in activities to ensure citizens' rights, and then also voter education and registration kinds of activities. So that's what it looks like. Much of it is what we are already doing. It's just putting numbers to it. This can be a helpful document for us because there are certain organizations that might want to know what our strategic plan is in order to get, if we should go for grant funding, they may want to see our plan for grant funding purposes and so forth. So there are, it's kind of nice because it's not just focused on us. We can also use it as an outward facing kind of tool. So that was, I know that's quick and dirty, but I know we don't have much time. So whatever questions you might have or thoughts.
I think it looks wonderful. It all started, I think I said at the planning meeting. And
Yeah.
then Sharon kind of took it from there, and we had a lot of input from committee members and board members. So
I should say too, I mean, this is a living document. It's something we'll be monitoring. If something needs to be changed because life changes for our league, we can change it. So we can change our metrics. We can decide to change some of the strategies. There are things we can do, but it's a good guide for us for the next year.
yeah, and we have plans to make sure that at board meetings, we do at least look at parts of the strategic plan just to make sure that we are keeping that in mind and doing what we've planned.
Right.
All right. Are there more questions? Are there questions for Sharon? Something someone doesn't understand or wants to
Maureen's got her
highlight?
hand up.
I
Okay,
just
Mo.
wanted to thank you. This is really a wonderful plan, and also it's something that we can show people if they want to know what we do when they're interested in membership. And I think Sharon, you've just done a fabulous job. Thanks so much.
Oh, well,
It
thank
is.
you.
Thank you. All right. If there are no questions, do we want to go ahead and have a motion to accept our strategic plan?
I move
From
to
someone?
accept the strategic plan.
Thank you, Martha. Is there a second?
Second.
That's Liza. Thanks, Liza. All
I want to
right.
also say, I neglected to mention Martha. She's another person who worked and gave lots of suggestions for the plan. So thank you.
These are some of our previous university people that have done strategic planning before a lot. So we
I'm
appreciate
retired. I thought I
you
was done with all that.
Hang in there a little while with us, Martha. All right. Okay. All those in favor of this strategic plan, say aye.
Aye.
I
Is there anyone that's opposed? All right. Thank you again, Sharon, and everybody that had a hand in putting this together. It's a wonderful document. Yes, super. All right. Believe it or not, we have 4 minutes to go before our program. So we managed to stay on time. Jen, I'm wondering if we should just go ahead and do our prize wheel to thank people for hanging in with all this business. Can you do that for us? And we'll have a prize right now. Oh, okay. Here's the prize wheel.
Mute.
Let's
Sorry.
see.
I'm on mute. So I added a couple of people that came in. Let me just do a quick review of the room, make sure we got everybody. And if you don't see your name there, let me know. All right. I think everybody's here. You have to be present to win. So, you know. All right, let's click. All right, Karen Terrell.
Karen. Yay, Karen. All right. We have some very good, wonderful prizes, I think. We have socks. I don't know if you can see these. Socks that protect pollinators. They've got little hummingbirds on them.
Oh, cute.
Got a cute little pottery dish that says, "Be the change." Of course, we're all
Right.
about that. We have a little suffragist doll that says, "Votes for women." I love these dolls. I have two. This is a little notebook with a little sloth on it, and it's made of recycled handmade paper. These are all from Lucia's Emporium, Fair Trade. A very colorful little glasses case. And I think that's it. Karen, did you see something you'd like?
The socks with the hummingbirds or bees, because I haven't seen a hummingbird at my feeder yet. So
Okay, well, hopefully this will do it. All right, Karen, I'll make sure you get those
Thanks.
socks. Thank you for being here. All right, let's go ahead and we will have another one or two drawings. So let's go ahead and maybe if people want to stretch for 1 minute, and then I will introduce our speakers. This is going to be a very exciting program. Get some water if you need to. And
Thank you, Mary. You've done a great job putting this
welcome.
together.
Rona and Barbara, I noticed that you're here, which is great. And our share screen is for multiple participants. So hopefully you won't have any trouble sharing screen when you're ready, but we'll wait another minute and then we'll get started.
Hey, while we're waiting, we do have calendar cards available. So these share the voting information. we have a lot of them coming, so I got to pick them up with the printer. So these are really useful because the election schedule is a little complicated, but 3 days early voting before election day. Just let me know. I'll put my email in the chat. So if you want to pick some up, or I can deliver them to your house. Give them to people you know, have them give them out.
Yeah, voter services, we've done lots of tabling events, lots and lots. And we've been giving them out and people have been very interested because it's, I think, a very, very helpful guide. Okay. Let's have everybody reconvene. And then I'll go ahead and welcome our speakers.
I want to give a shout out to the puppies that are attending. I've been enjoying that thoroughly.
The puppies.
Good, Kathy. Mhm.
I haven't seen them.
Elsa's in particular had to, like, was right in the front face there for a bit. It was wonderful. Should have taken a screenshot.
Well, my cat's attending too. There's Elsa. Hi, Elsa.
Hi.
Elsa, glad to see you.
Ms. Hughes, while we have a moment, do I have access to the drive with the Constitution and proposed strategy, just so I can take a look?
You probably don't right now, but that is something we need to do. We'll get that to you and Jack and our other people.
Thank you.
But thanks for saying that.